Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space. I crack myself up. I got issues. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, September 10th. Me and CryptyGirl just got off a stream. Well, not a stream, a recording, but you guys get the point, and it was awesome. Talking about great content. Sorry. Distracted. It's good to see a couple of folks on the stream. I know it's a little later in the day than everyone's used to at 12 o'clock. We got a couple people here. John something in the house. Dave Millett, what's up? Dave says DXY is flying. Let's take a peek. Let's break it down and see what's going on. Script Skynet's in the house. How did your interview go with the Cryptic Girl? I think it went well. It is difficult because we only have a certain amount of time, and it is very hard to compress complicated, sophisticated information to very short time frames, especially without visual aids. And that's just the nature of really what I try and achieve on this stream. I try and compress as much as I possibly can into a relatively short period of time so people don't get bored, people don't drop off in 5-10 minutes. This guy's not talking about important or interesting stuff. So I try to keep everyone entertained while conveying all this fancy DeFi stuff that it really means a lot to everyone's life, whether folks see it or not. And that's what I want to achieve. I want people to see why this is going to be so impactful on everyone's daily lives at some point or another. George is in the house. Always a pleasure. Let's pop it over to the main screen because we're going to get to predominantly RenDGB. I want to do a recap of what Crypty and I talked about, but Dave brought up a good point, and that is the DXY. So the DXY is the wrecking ball, and this bad boy just started pushing around the market. Look at that. Look at that giant rip up to the 200 EMA on the 15-minute. And look at this. Perfect rejection. I love me the 200 EMA. That's it. SMA, I don't have it up. I have it on Lend. I have the SMA up on Lend as well, which obviously is slightly different. The EMA weighs more recent price values more heavily. So for me, I clearly all moving averages are meaningful in many regards, but for me, the 200 EMA is my bread and butter. That has been just a big part of my technical analysis repertoire for pretty much this entire DeFi season. So check this out. So the dollar goes on a rampage, and bam, Nasdaq is down. It was green, and now it's red. And the Dow is down much is up less than it was. So the dollar is the wrecking ball. Bum bum bum. But this is crazy because this played out exactly as I thought it would. So here, no, where was my little? I don't know. Was it the 15? It was a 30-minute. So look, I drew this red line yesterday. I'm like, it's going to break through, it's going to come up and test, and it's going to bounce down. All right, so I was spot on with my dollar prediction on how it was looking with the red guppies and losing momentum coming up on the 200 EMA and the 30-minute. But no one's going to expect this. No one's going to expect a rocket ship straight up to test the 200 EMA on the 15-minute. So I have no idea. Who the heck knows what this thing's going to do? But all I know is this thing is destructive. It is self-destructing. It is everything about it just screams, this is not good. This is dangerous and risky. And the problem that comes to my mind is that we're talking about people's lives. And we're talking about a very powerful entity that has way too much power that could predominantly negatively impact people's lives. And the reason I say predominantly negatively, because the vast majority of people are broke. You got the 0.1% that have all the money. That's not fair. And that's because of this dollar and how it just grows around destroying everything. And it's just not a fair system. Anyway, whatever. You know me. James says Theta Network making moves was just issued a patent by USPTO. This is centralized content delivery. Lovely. Great. Wonderful. Do your due diligence. Keep an eye on it. That's why it's moving. I saw Theta up here on the 24-hour. Let's take a peek. It's filter 2.4. I swear I saw Theta. Maybe not. But look what's in the top. It's all the stuff that I love. Loop ring. I got a big bag. Synthetics. I got some stuff vesting. Energy web. Small position. Aave. I'm back in, baby. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. DigiByte's good to see in the top movers. 24 hour. 4.7%. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So let's take a look at this chart one more time. So what do you think is going to? Think it's going to bounce off the 200 EMA? Oh, goodness. I mean, this. So what happens is between the 5 and the 15 min, this thing looks like it has the stoke that's going to pull back to the 200 EMA and bounce off, being in oversold territory. But then you pull over to the 15 minute, and it looks like we're in overbought, and we're about to pull down because we're in overbought. So right now we have a horrible contradiction between the 5-minute and the 15-minute on the DXY. And this basically puts any investor in no man's land. Who can make a decision or a choice based on that information? You need other information to produce confluence to make somewhat of a reasonable choice. Anyway, sorry, I digress. David, that's the DXY. All right, so Crypty and I were talking about RenDGB, talking about the DigiByte. We all love DigiByte. Everyone knows the macro narrative that I talk about, which is record storage and asset management. DigiByte has an asset API server, and this is really where some of the technical points that I'm probably end up trying to talk about today at 5 p.m. Because the DigiAsset API server really needs to be decentralized. And once that's achieved, that's very powerful because decentrally controlled infrastructure produces a bit of permanence. It will exist in perpetuity if it's self-sustaining. And that means it needs to be incentivized. And the utility it provides, no doubt, is the metadata for your Digi assets. Now, there's 721s on Ethereum, and there's NFTs being built out, and Polkadot projects. And this is powerful tech. But I overwhelmingly see DigiByte as a critical component of offloading this information to a geographically diverse record storage system. So clearly, Ethereum is in itself a computational powerhouse, a capacity to execute code in a global supercomputer in many regards. But that does not entail all that information needs to be centrally stored on one platform. And the whole power of UTXO should not be ignored. It has functionality that's mutually exclusive and purpose that's mutually exclusive to any one system. And a great system has backups, redundancies, fail safes, and that is exactly the position that I see DigiByte in the future. It is the overwhelmingly superior UTXO record storage and asset management system. It is the most fundamental of blockchain technology. It's based on Bitcoin. It's not as sophisticated as Ethereum with the smart contract implementation, the Turing complete functionality, and that's meaningful. That means there's less risk. And that is an absolute critical characteristic to have with regard to record storage and asset management. You want assured immutability. Even though you can have plenty of audits on smart contracts, it's all about risk versus reward. And this is where like insurance adjusters come in and do very sophisticated risk assessment profiles and evaluations. And that's the whole point. Dare I say, store records on Ethereum and 721 non-fungibles, NFTs, but also have a redundant record storage system on DigiByte. And then you have geographically diverse, redundant copies of these records around the world. That's very powerful. And I think that is a great way to describe the future of how these very powerful global systems piece together into functional products. And It's not like you don't want one system to rule them all. When you have multiple systems that have very powerful technological offerings and their functionality is mutually exclusive. The functionality of one network is not dependent on another, but they can contribute collectively to the overall functionality of a product and service to make it better, to have redundancies, fail safe, so on and so forth. All right, so so that's DigiByte. So I digress so bad. I got to get better at this. So that was a big monologue about DigiByte. So Crypty and I were talking about RenDGB, and that's where we are, well, with DigiByte. So what does that mean for RenDGB? RenDGB is a way to take all of that shit that I just talked about and jam it into another blockchain, which means you don't necessarily need the 721s. So what you're talking about is alternatives, and that is a healthy market. A healthy market offers choices and options. So if you could take a digi asset and mint it on Ethereum, I know I tried to explain it with Crypty, and I think that's really the only way to explain it. You're minting a DigiByte asset on Ethereum. I know that's hard to understand, and that's really what I struggle with, is to try and convey what that means. So I talked about RenVM storing information. RenVM has the capacity to store the private keys associated with the DigiByte transaction, with DigiByte public address. So that means you say, basically, here's the story. You're saying, hey, RenVM, here's some DigiByte, my DigiByte. Give me a way to use this on Ethereum. And what does that offer? That offers people that own DigiByte a way to interact with DeFi systems, Ethereum DeFi systems. And that's profound because Ethereum DeFi systems offer yield. They offer services and functionality. They offer they're fungible, which basically means you can break down the ERC20 minted DigiByte tokens into smaller components, and you could operate as if it was an Ethereum asset because technically it is an Ethereum asset. I promised myself I wasn't going to get technical, and I just got technical. Oh, all right. So what do you do? How do you? I've gone over this a couple times, but this is how you basically are going to take DigiByte and put it onto Ethereum. You're gonna go to the Ren bridge. You connect your MetaMask, and you're going to get a DigiByte address, and you send your DigiByte to it, and the MetaMask will be your Ethereum. MetaMask is an Ethereum wallet, and the RenDGB will be sent to your Ethereum address. And it's as simple as that. It's not complicated. How that's achieved is another story, and that's what we've been talking about technologically. Um, Yeah, my wife's telling me to cut it short. Sorry, guys. But I want to show you guys briefly Aave, Compound, and Oasis. So Aave is how you get yield. So check it out what it's offered for Bitcoin. Bitcoin gets 0.2%, but when you had some yield mining games with Curve and Balancer, um, who else was involved with that? But point being, this is where your yield comes from. And sometimes you see it shoot up very high. Look, there's some serious yield games going on with synthetics offering 62%. But the most interesting one, what I think, is DAI, because on average it's about 8% for the last 30 days, 8.8%. So what I look forward to with regard to DigiByte is very low risk, reasonable rewards for yield. And to me, that's Compound, where I take my RenDGB and I'm able to give it to Compound and as collateral for a DAI loan. So Compound will say, okay, thank you for the RenDGB. Here, you can mint this amount of DAI. And I'm like, cool. So that's it. And obviously the collateralization ratio and the functionality of how How Maker works is another story that we could dive into another time. I don't want to get too complicated, but this is the biggest part of the problem. This is all complicated. And and I guess banks do make it simple. You give them some money, they give you some money back. The money in your account goes up. I guess that's where all of this will end up. I mean, that is really what this is. If you put money in here, Aave gives you a real-time printout of the money that's coming in. It's literally clicking up in real time. It's just going up and up and up. You can literally see the numbers. It's that's the way they built the web, their web software. So that's what I'd love. I'd love to be able to mint DAI with my RenDGB vis-a-vis the Compound protocol and get the Aave yield on that DAI. Um, that means people can collect their crypto and grow, accumulate crypto. Because we sure as hell know, everybody, there's no point in doing that with dollar bills. We want to do that with real assets. We want to do that with crypto assets. We want to do that with precious metals. What's the point of collecting dollars? And that's what we've talked about many a times. All right. I wanted to just do a bit of a recap of what CryptyGirl and I talked about. This is actually a nice way to end the stream today. I'm going to cut it short. This is the RenVM mainnet dashboard. There's currently $190 million worth of Bitcoin managed by virtual computers, people that have deployed RenVM dark nodes. And then these deployed nodes are managing all of those Bitcoin private key addresses. $190 million worth of private key addresses. That's crazy. And it has processed $541 million worth of digital assets, predominantly Bitcoin at this point. And as a result, there's a lot of fees that have accumulated. We get 0.1% for every mint and 0.1% for every burn. And that's why it's absolutely incredible the potential for what RenVM can offer as an investment. Because if this is doing $1 billion a day, you're talking about significant money for the dark node operators on a daily basis. That's big stuff. So I don't want this video to end on a Ren node. I want it to end on a DigiByte node. So at some point we're going to see DGB on this list. We're going to see other assets as well as RenVM updates are deployed to the mainnet. We'll see plenty of UTXO assets in this list over the coming months and coming years for that matter. And people are going to be able to mint ERC20 and frankly Akala. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something with Cosmos at some point, a Cosmos hub, because they got the IBC and that's a whole network of blockchains. But then you could use these tokenized representations of your DigiByte to operate in these DeFi systems. And clearly we have a very big Ethereum DeFi community, a DeFi system of protocols. And the same thing is getting built out on Polkadot. And the same thing is going to be built out for Cosmos as well. This is just the beginning. So I'm going to end on the same note I ended with CryptyGirl. Protect your gains, be safe, be smart. Do not, look at that, bam, there's your 190. Do not just buy things. You need a narrative. You need to have a good darn reason why something is going to go up. Otherwise, don't do anything. It's better to do nothing unless you have a strong reason something is going to go up. Protect your gains. You work too damn hard to gamble. It's not about gambling. All right. Anyone in the stream have any thoughts? I'm late. I have to watch later. Peter, my man, it'll always be here. Dave, my pleasure. No doubt tomorrow we'll talk about DXY and see what's going on because that thing is the wrecking ball. Pummeling through equities. Let's flip over to the equities real quick. Look at that. It's hovering around zero. S&P as well as NASDAQ at this point. Let's flip over to DXY and we'll jump off. All right, look at that. Over the 200 EMA on the 5 minute. Look at that. The 200 EMA on the 15 minute holding as resistance. Oh, man. This is absolutely crazy times. Well, all right. Be safe, everyone. Make good decisions. And I will catch you tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.